The unequal heating of Earth. Why does unequal heating of the Earth occur? What are factors that makes the heat of the Earth uneven? What are the impact and possible effect of unequal heating of Earth?
Temperature is the measure of hotness or coldness expressed in terms of any of several scales, including Fahrenheit and Celsius. Temperature indicates the direction in which heat energy will spontaneously flow from a hotter body, one at a higher temperature, to a colder body. Temperature is the measure of the hotness or the coldness of an object. Something that feels hotter generally has a higher temperature and vice versa. The Earth's surface temperature, it keeps the average surface temperature of the planet at 288 degrees Kelvin. It keeps the average surface temperature of the planet at 288 degrees Kelvin, or 15 degrees Celsius, or 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Then, the solar constant is a measurement of the solar electromagnetic radiation available in a meter squared at Earth distance from the Sun. The solar constant is used to quantify the rate at which energy is received upon a unit surface such as a solar panel. Latitude is the measurement of distance north or south of the equator. Direct energy is the energy produced and consumed by the RI within its own operations. So the different layers of the atmosphere, first the troposphere. So this is the lowest part of the atmosphere. This stratosphere. This extends upwards from the tropopause to about 50 kilometers. Mesosphere. The region above the stratosphere is called the mesosphere. Here the temperature again decreases with height, reaching a minimum of about negative 90 degrees Celsius at the mesopause. Exosphere. The region above about 500 kilometers is called the exosphere. It contains mainly oxygen and hydrogen atoms.
Season. A season is a period of the year that is distinguished by climate conditions. The four seasons are spring, summer, fall, and winter, follow one another regularly. Each has its own light, temperature, and weather patterns that repeat yearly. This is the winter solstice, that the day of the year with the shortest period of daylight. Summer begins on June 20 or 21, the summer which has the most daylight of the any day of the year. Spring and fall or autumn begin on days that have equal amounts of daylight and darkness. The vernal or spring falls on March 20 or 21, and the autumnal is on September 22 or 23. Mechanism. Earth's axis, also known as the obliquity of the ecliptic. It's about 23.5 degrees due to this axis. The sun shines on different latitudes at different angles throughout the year. This causes the seasons. The rays of the sun. First is visible light that you can see. Infrared radiation that you can feel as heat, and rays of UV radiation that you can see or feel. Movement of air. The movement of air is mainly caused due to differences in pressure and temperature. Warm air is lighter and it rises upwards. Meanwhile, cold air is denser and hence it moves down to replace the warm air.
My topic is about creation of fronts. Fronts are made up of air masses. Air masses cover hundreds or thousands square miles and adapt to the characteristics of the surface below them. Source regions. There are four types of air masses. First, maritime tropical. When we say maritime, the air masses during winter, its humid air can bring heavy rain or snow. Is maritime polar. It is a cool, humid air masses formed over the icy cold North Pacific and North Atlantic Ocean. Third, continental tropical. When we say continental, the air masses form over land in the middle of the continents and are dry. Continental tropical is a hot, dry air masses formed only in the summer over dry areas of south. Continental polar brings cool and cold water from central and northern Canada and Alaska. When the continental air moves to the south, storms may occur, and when it moves to the north, it meets maremotas. There are four types of fronts. First one is cold fronts. Cold fronts move faster than warm air. Second, the warm front. It is in warm air, usually contain high humidity. When warm air is humid, the showers and light rain might fall along the front where the warm and cold air meet. Third is stationary front. A stationary front can have the combination of weather from both warm and cold front. One of the air masses pushes the other air mass out of. Next is the Earth energy balance in heating the atmosphere. Energy is released from the sun. The sun emits short-wave light and ultraviolet energy. When it reaches the Earth, some is reflected back to the space by clouds, some is absorbed by the atmosphere, and some is absorbed at the Earth's surface. Have the short wave. Short wave is once the atmosphere clouds and surface absorb the solar energy. The ground heats up and re-emits energy as long wave radiation in form of infrared rays. Next, we have the long wave. Long waves include infrared, thermal or terrestrial radiation, and electromagnetic energy is the spectral band for roughly 3 to 100 millimeters. Earth's surface temperatures produce emissions in this range, the terrestrial radiation occurring at a wavelength of about 10 millimeters.
Differentiate between rotation and revolution of the Earth. Rotation refers to an object speeding motion about its own axis, while revolution refers to the object's orbital motion around another object. What is Earth rotation? Earth rotation on its axis occurs every 24 hours. Earth is always moving each day. The Earth can make a one complete rotation on its axis. What is Earth revolution? Refers to the object orbital motion around another object. For example, Earth rotates on its own axis, producing the 24 hours a day. Each revolves about the Sun, producing the 365-day year. A satellite revolves around a planet. Transfer of energy, also known as energy conversion, is the process of changing energy from one form to another. The rules of the wind and the ocean. Wind is determining the weather and climate. Wind plays a significant role. Heat, moisture, toxin, and pollen. While the ocean, we are fed by the ocean, which also control our temperature and produce most of the oxygen we breathe. The oceans support a large portion of the global economy, supporting industries, tourism, fisheries, international shipping.
Wind. It is the movement of air from an area of high pressure to low pressure. Movement of air. The main cause of air movement is the differences caused by pressure and temperature. The air in the warm temperature rises in upward directions, whereas the air in cold temperature is denser and moves downward and replaces the warm air. For the movement of air. The weather and climate of any places are decided by the movement of air across the earth. Air pressure. It is the measure of the force with which air molecules push on a surface. What is ocean currents? It is the continuous, predictable, directional movement of sea water driven by gravity, wind, and water density.